HELOC or Cash Out Refinance? Which is the best option to choose in 2024? I'm Scott with Homeport Residential, and let's start with a quick refresher on the home equity line of credit and the Cash Out Refi, along with the pros and cons for each. Then we'll discuss which one makes the most sense in 2024. Let me give you the bottom line up front. If you bought a home prior to 2023 or you have an interest rate at or below 4%, in almost all cases in 2024, the HELOC is going to be your better option. Why? We're going to go over that, but even if you don't fall into that category, this breakdown can help you decide which choice is going to be the best option for you. By the way, I'm always available if you want to schedule a call with me to discuss your unique situation. Just click on the calendar link in the description section. Okay, let's start by talking about the HELOC or home equity line of credit. It's a revolving line of credit that functions somewhat like a credit card, and it uses your home as collateral for the loan. When you apply for your HELOC, you'll be given a credit limit based on your home's equity and assigned a draw period, which is typically about 10 years. During your draw period, you can access some, none, or all of the funds available to you up to your credit limit. Also, during the draw period, you're only required to pay for the interest on your loan, although you can always pay more if you choose to, and then after the draw period ends, your payments will include both your loan balance and the interest on your loan. So those are the HELOC basics. Let's go over its biggest pros and cons. The first pro of the HELOC is it does not impact your home's current interest rate. So if you have an amazing rate locked in on your home, you can take out a home equity line of credit and your current interest rate won't change. The second pro of the HELOC is flexibility. During your draw period, you can move money on or off your line of credit at any time. So if you apply for a HELOC and just want to have that credit available to you for a future investment opportunity or emergency situation, if you haven't taken any money out, you won't have to make any payments. Or let's say you have a $75,000 credit limit with your HELOC and only want to take out $25,000, then obviously you will only pay interest on the $25,000 and not the entire line of credit. The third pro of the HELOC is very low initial cost and fees compared to most other types of home equity loans. Okay, with that said, let's address the two biggest cons of the HELOC. Without a doubt, the number one con is the risk of foreclosure. Your home is used as collateral for the loan, so if you default on your HELOC payments, you could put your home at risk. So it's always a good rule of thumb to never borrow more than you can afford and always stay within your budget. The second biggest con of the HELOC is they are generally variable interest rate loans, which means your interest rate can fluctuate over time and will go up and down based on the federal funds rate set by the Federal Reserve. Now, if interest rates come down, this could be considered a pro, but if rates go up sharply, that could negatively impact your budget in a very serious way. So I always consider all adjustable rate home loans a huge con. Okay, now that we've covered the HELOC, what about the Cash Out Refinance? With the Cash Out Refi, you're basically turning your home's equity into cash, but you also want to be mindful of the trade-off here. You're going to swap your current home loan balance for a larger one. This bigger loan taps into your home's equity and lets you pocket the difference in cash. Think of it as an entirely new mortgage with a higher balance, and you'll be starting from scratch with your mortgage payments. So after the Cash Out Refi, you will owe more on your home loan and potentially have a different interest rate. Your new interest rate will depend largely on current rates at the time of your refi and of course your credit score. Okay, let's talk pros and cons of the Cash Out Refi. The number one pro is that in most cases you're going to have a fixed interest rate, which means you won't have to worry about what the bond markets are doing, and your mortgage payment will be the same for the life of the home loan. The next pro of the Cash Out Refi is you have lump sum access to the money. So let's say you're taking out $100,000 of equity out of your house. You get all of that money minus your closing costs as soon as your loan closes. Additionally, if your loan amount is below $750,000, you should be able to write off all the interest you are paying on that loan. Now, I'm not a licensed tax professional, so be certain to check with your CPA concerning any potential tax deductions. So what are the cons of the Cash Out Refi? Just like with the HELOC, the number one con is the risk of foreclosure. So again, never borrow more than you can afford and always be certain that your monthly payments will stay well within your budget. The second con of the Cash Out Refi is that because you're applying for a brand new home loan, it generally has much higher closing costs than a HELOC. Finally, if you currently have a lower interest rate and are refinancing when interest rates are higher, you're going to lose that low rate and you'll end up paying far more in interest over the life of your home loan and accrue equity in your home at a much slower rate. Now that we've discussed the HELOC and Cash Out Refi in detail, which one makes the most sense in 2024? I do want to point out this is not financial advice, and that there's almost never a one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to investing or things like refinancing your home. So for this discussion, let's focus on the big picture, and I'd be happy to discuss your unique situation with you if you have any questions about what we've covered so far. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, if you purchased your home before 2023, or you have an interest rate of 4% or lower, in almost all cases, the HELOC is going to be your best option in 2024. The main reason for that is interest rates are roughly between 6 to 7% right now. And if you go with a cash out refi, you'll end up with a much higher interest rate. So for me personally, I would never want to refinance my home and end up with a higher interest rate just to access my home's equity. However, at the same time, let's say someone has a very large amount of high interest debt with an extremely large monthly payment, they might consider going with a cash out refi with a slightly higher interest rate if that lowers their total monthly bills when all their debts are consolidated and leaves them with more money available for things like groceries, childcare, and other expenses. I want to emphasize that I'm not recommending this option. I only want to point out that there are a lot of use cases for both of these loan types that most people wouldn't even consider. So as you can see, there's some serious pros and cons for both the HELOC and cash out refi, and there's no one-size solution out there that'll work for everyone's unique financial situation. I hope this video gives you a basic roadmap for figuring out which option works best for you, and I would always recommend speaking with a great loan officer that you trust, and I'm happy to be a resource for you. I want to mention I'm a retired Navy vet, and I work with home buyers in all 50 states. I'm always available to answer your questions. You can click on my calendar link in the description section to set up a time for us to connect. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.